Good evening.
Welcome. Good evening to everyone. Good evening to all in Asia. Good afternoon to all in Europe, and good morning to all in all Americas. Yeah. So this is our third episode. Our third episode is having a title called "Whether PARATICI will endure his tenure in Tottenham Hotspur." So, what do you think, Jamie?
I think he's gonna have to sit very tight and hold on, because he surely knows that he's dealing with a difficult chairman. I don't think he's spoken well of in Juventus, and generally in the football world. He wouldn't have come into this situation blind. So I think he's strong enough to endure, but whether he gets everything he wants, that's up in the hands of Mr. Levy.
Yeah.
So
hold on, Jamie. Let me bring a guest. Mr. K is waiting in the back row. Hi, Mr. K.
Guys. Hello,
how are you doing?
Not too bad.
Hi.
Just started the afternoon here in the UK, just turning up to 1 o'clock. Beautiful, cloudy, overcast day.
yes,
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thunderstorms in Manila.
Yeah, same here too, surprisingly. Yeah. Let me say hi to Wayne first. Hi, Wayne. He's in the chats, and I think he's watching.
Wayne Bonner's in the chat. Brilliant.
Yeah. He's great. Thanks for the support, Wayne. Yeah. Somehow or another, you have rainy weather in Manila, and I have rainy weather here too. So I guess it must be a very big cloud.
Yeah. Some weather.
And ironically, what was the title of Bob Spurs' broadcast? Dark clouds over Tottenham.
Yeah.
So there seems to be a theme here.
But we got dark clouds over Southeast Asia.
And they've got dark clouds over Northeast London.
Well, if you're a Spurs fan, then you've got this right now, isn't it? Because there's no direction, there's no leadership. It's like the parents are away, and the kids are wondering what time dinner is.
That's true.
It's like it's gone well past it. I think 60 days since we had any dinner, right?
Yeah, 61 days, bro.
Nights. 61 days. It's
61 days. Yeah.
So
that's what I was saying.
So it's in this life with COVID and people being isolated. It's nice to know someone's thinking of you and that they care about you. But when you look at this this board that we have, are they looking after us? Or are they only looking after themselves?
I guess.
I think that the latter is apparent at the moment.
Yeah, but let's start saying now. We are not trying to be like an echo chamber or anything, but how do you feel about all this merry-go-round circus from manager to the DOF, right? And do you have a funny feeling PARATICI might not even be there end of this month?
I think that will be much ado about nothing then. It's like we didn't have a director of football. We do have one. We don't have one. We're not going to miss it if the guy doesn't turn up on July the 1st.
Yeah.
Right. But then, having said that, an awful lot of what you're hearing in the media is pure rumors and speculation.
Yeah.
Remember there was that rumor that we were going to get Poch back. You remember that rumor that we were going to get Nagelsmann? You remember that rumor we were going to get Conte? Do you remember that rumor we were going to get Ten Hag? All of these are rumors. And as Levy said when he did bring his stream out, he goes, "Oh, nothing's true until I say it is." Well, then that means if that's the case, then that means the guys are doing nothing in the board. They've been doing nothing for 61 days.
Yeah, 61 days. So that's why I've been sitting down here, right, after watching all this drama, circus show, some kind of, whatever they're trying to build. I was just sitting down to wonder, what is actually in Levy's mind? Why is he doing this? Is he gone to the stage that he's so lost, he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's just clutching at straws, right? Or is he playing an end game where nobody knows what the result is, but just him? What do you think, Mr. K?
I think that's way too much thinking there. Life's full of people coming out with bright ideas which are not fully rounded. They try to chase them. The balloon pops. They come back to reality, and then they have to hard slog of doing it properly. And to find a good manager, I suppose at the beginning it might have seemed that it would have been quite easy. All you got to do is put Spurs at the top, and then people will come running, right?
Yeah.
Well, it seems to me that it hasn't quite turned out so easy, and people have got other options available to them. There's a lot of footballing clubs out there. And does Spurs have that attraction in the elite level side? And the answer is no. Conte sat down with... I mean, we all know Conte had a chat with Levy. That's a fact, right?
Yeah.
That's not just media speculation. That's a real-life fact. So if that's the case, and Spurs cannot meet the ambition of somebody who wants to win a trophy, then that means that Spurs' ambition is not to win a trophy. So what is their ambition? And I think that's what the expectation of the average Spurs fan has to come to reality, which is what should be your expectation if the board are not going to do nothing to win a trophy? Because they just said so. They said, look, here's a manager. Okay, let's have a look at the previous one, the one that actually left. You got a one-day specialist, Jose Mourinho, who loves finals. You sack him 6 days before you get a final. So, it's like you got a nut and you got a wrench, and you decide not to use the particular wrench on the particular nut. And that doesn't make any sense. So how else are you going to undo this bolt? So that's pretty much what Levy has been doing. And I think to a certain degree, that just shows you he doesn't understand the difference between a nut and a spanner. If you can take that analogy. If you go further forward, you'll find out that there's something called incompetence, which is basically you mess up big time. So I think that's really what's happened. He's messed up. They tried to get Nagelsmann. They totally messed up. One reason or the other reason, you could call it bad luck on their side, that Bayern happened to be interested. Or you could say that it's not, they had plenty of opportunities early in the season, Zagreb, West Ham, to get rid of Jose Mourinho. Or they could have stuck with him and see what happened in the cup final.
That's true.
We might still have come seventh or whatever, but we would have ended up maybe with a cup in our hand. We might have done a dirty one over Man City, and to tell you the truth, the way they were playing, we could have done it. So that tells you that with Mason coming in, Mason reflecting the wishes of Daniel Levy, so therefore the selection that you saw in the formation, the way that they were being played, was at a direct request by Levy. So that final showed you everything. What did it show you? It showed you the selection. What was the selection? Well, you had a player in the midfield that hadn't played very much, and you had a player in the midfield that wasn't playing who should be playing a lot. So that tells you that there is a bias towards certain types of players and particular type of playing styles. So what is your end objective? Is it to win something or just to play? And it seems to me that Levy has made it very abundantly clear that he wants his teams to be seen to be playing, but not necessarily winning. If he wanted them to win, he would give them tools by which, in order for them to win. So 6 days before a final, you'll give them a really good manager and say, here you go. Now you can walk into that final with a little bit more confidence. Come to the summertime or to the January transfer window, you bring in 1 or 2 key players to shore up your defense or to add extra attacking nouns in the front, or maybe even hold the midfield, because Winks can't certainly do it. Nothing of the kind happened. So that tells you that there's no willingness there to capture any type of glory for the club. So therefore, it's very, very simple. Levy the board wants the team to play. They don't want the club to win. So that's the conclusion I've got.
That means there's typically what the club owners don't have is ambition. Typically, that's what I guess what you're saying. But at this moment now, everything seems to be in chaos. And do you think that Levy is the one orchestrating this chaos?
Well, at the end of the day, he's had 20 years of being at Tottenham. 20 years. And with that 20 years comes a lot of familiarity. The corridors of where he works, the road which goes down the road, the people that are in positions, the secretaries, the administration staff, the security staff. 20 years of talking to other chairmen, 20 years of talking to agents and players. Nothing happens in that club without Levy.
That's true.
So everything you see is the direct consequence of his actions, inactions, or stupid actions.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get away from that. You can bring in a director of football or a general manager or whatever he wants to call him. You cannot blame him when the guy hasn't even started his contract. So Levy is still responsible. You know.
Yeah,
Okay, there's a comment here from Wayne Bonner. All right, let me read the comment from Wayne Bonner. Wayne Bonner says that I think Levy lost control of the situation in which he's used to having control. His weakness and his incompetence, therefore, have been put on the public display, which is very true, Wayne. Very, very true. Right, which is somehow another, spot on. Yeah, somehow another. What while he's trying to mend the problem that or solve the problem that he's created, but instead of solving the problem, he somehow has opened up the screens, right, from all the smoke that now we can see through what his intention is, right, which is that very clear now. The fans out there should know he's got no ambition, right, but he's trying to cover that with all his words and all his PR skills, but somehow it's still failing because everything that he says has always been contradicted by what he has done, especially in the manager search. Right, Jamie, what do you think?
What all I can think is back to square one when it comes to the Espirito Santos being back as the favourite. I mean, when Mourinho got shot off, he lost his position at about the same time, and we were saying, we're going to be going for him. I think what you said at the start, the fact that Levy may have his own agenda and everything is paper talk and smoke screens until the Euros are over, and then he's just going to do what he's going to do, and we're going to have to like it or lump it. But regards how things are going to turn out, I just hope that Paratici has got some cast iron ones, and he'll be able to ride out the machinations of Levy and whatever's going on in Levy's head, and bring something productive out of this mess.
That's true. But do you think something like that will happen? That's the sad part, right? The way I see it, right?
I've never known such a chaotic time regards the management.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it's Levy trying to cover his business interests and superficially deal with the football side of things. I'm just worried that, like this 100 million offer from Man City that's going to come after the Euros for Kane, take it or leave it. And as we were discussing before the broadcast, you can't trust that Levy's going to put any of that money into the team. It will just go into other areas of his vested interest, and we'll be left with the same mess and even an even weaker team.
Mr. K.
Well, he did say he was going to put every single penny into the footballing side or the team or the squad or whatever terminology he used.
Says and does is two different things.
Yeah. So basically, the first thing he does as soon as he says that, he decides to build himself a multi-complex, building structure in the South Stand.
Just to clarify, to clarify certain things, right? The club has not bought a golf course, right? The club has leased a piece of land, which I think has a golf course on it, but they are going to spend money to develop what call certain complexes for the women's training ground, maybe the NFL training ground and sports complex or something like that on that piece of land. National
thrills. We need first team investment, not negating the importance of the women's game. The NFL is again just another a moneymaker, but the first team and the youth program needs to be invested in consistently and constantly. Forget all the extra bits that make things look nice, but don't deal with the root problems.
Well, Jamie, the thing is that when you talk about ambition, I don't think the word ambition when Levy uses it and the word ambition when we use it are referring to the same thing. No. And I think basically your words have to be carried out by action. He's had 20 years to give us actions. And you can give all the pretty words you want now, but at the end of the day, we've got 20-year legacy to look at in evidence and look at in detail to see whether or not your words have actually meant anything. And whether the ambition has actually been there for us, the fans, the club, the glory, the team, or whether it's been there purely for his bank balance. And we can all 100% see that from a £23 million to £60 million to now, you know, whatever it is, 600 million, 700 million, and up to £2.5 billion worth of total valuation, including debt, that he certainly, if that was his ambition, he certainly succeeded in making himself a very rich man. If that was the ambition, is to make these two people very, very rich, they've succeeded. They've well and truly succeeded. But if it's for the football team and for the fans, you can clearly see with our trophy cabinet, that hasn't happened. Have they been unlucky? Have they been just unlucky? You know, they did reach a few finals. Have they been unlucky? Well, the thing is, our teams have overreached in order to get to those finals. But once we got there, we were not given the ammunition that they needed in order to win it. That was clear on both finals, correct? You know, you had one striker in the whole team, and if he goes down, then you got no other striker. You know, and pretty much you're trying to win cups and titles and things like that. That's just not going to happen. You need to have
so overachieve with mediocrity. Thrown in the odd flash player, but really it's just you know, all a light show and no bang. So
that means, actually, to tell you the truth, right? All the Tottenham fans out there should feel the way that we are just a mediocre club, not a big club, maybe mid-table, right? And the owners are trying to make us look like a big club, right? And somehow or another, like Jamie said, we overachieved with Poch. So once we overachieved with Poch, right, the expectations of the fans grew very much bigger all of a sudden. All of a sudden, we wanted things now, right? We've been waiting for...
I think if I Mr. K said that.
Yeah. So this is the, what I call, the new generation of feelings and emotions, right? There's no more patience. People can't wait for things to grow. They want everything instantaneously because of technology. Our society has grown into that kind of sense. And especially the younger generation is a, how I call it, instantaneous generation. They want everything on the spot, now. Everything, the results must come out now. We want to know it now. But somehow or another, I think what Levy is, he is still living back in the 80s or 90s. And sooner or later, this will catch up and bite him, I'm sure. Right? And with all this confusion going on with the manager, right, we can't even have, what do you call it, definite player transfers of players being definite, right? Who we want to go for, because we don't have a manager. You can go for Sabitzer. If you bring in a manager and the manager doesn't like Sabitzer, it's like throwing another 15 to 20 million pounds away, correct? Because in the end of the day, football is still a human game. Everything comes down to human interaction, correct?
Hold on. If you look at coaches, for example, in the modern age, right? Yeah, they're going to come in. They don't have that much control over the transfer. They have requests that they make towards the chairman and the board. So these are the type of players we'd like. If I get these players, I can conform to the club's ambitions of the style of play and where they want to finish up. Okay, so we can clearly see what those objectives are. If Levy wants us to be as you said, a top club that wants to win things and put trophies inside the cabinet case, he has referred to it. Yeah. But he hasn't done much. Okay, well, I don't know. It's kind of really, really weird. It's not until you start to look at the real finer details do you realize the game that's actually being played. When you look at it from the outside, you think, well, didn't we buy a lot of players at the beginning of last season? You know, there was a lot of excitement, correct? You were excited. Jamie, you were excited. I think the large fan...
Relative.
No, yeah, it was relative. We were relatively excited because we spent 2 seasons before not buying anyone. Yeah. So for us, right, thirsty people in the desert, any amount of water looks great. And that's pretty much what happened, is that we were just so grateful to get the type of players we got in. We didn't really care. We just thought, all right, now we got what we wanted. We asked for more players. We got more players. But if you looked in very careful detail as to who those extra players were, what did you find? You found one player, right, that wanted to play in the Euros. Right?
Yeah.
World-class elite. Wanted to play in the Euros. He wasn't ready. Hadn't played properly for 2 years. He used the whole of that season just to get himself ready to where he is now.
Yeah.
You know, I saw some people on Twitter turning around and saying, "Oh, look, Gareth Bale can play 2 games in X amount of time. Why couldn't Jose Mourinho, the professional, see that?" And I'm thinking, well, it took him that long to get there. Don't forget, Jose came out many times and turned around and said, "Listen, my medical team can't find nothing wrong with him."
Yeah. Just whether he wants to play or not.
Live. He said this live on TV. He turned around and said, "My medical team cannot find out what's wrong with him. As far as they're concerned, he's fit as a fiddle. But he says he feels something in his thigh, and we have to go with him because he's a professional." So basically, Bale's been calling the shots from day one. The only thing Bale didn't like was the way that Jose chose tactics. He wanted free-flowing attacking, game, so he could be similar to what Wales were going to do. And instead, he was getting low blocks. So obviously, he was upset with Jose there. But people out there have got it twisted when it comes down to, how ready was Bale. And the answer was, we saw him with our own eyes. He was not ready enough. We could see he was half a yard short for the beginning of the season, and creeping inch by inch, getting to where he is. And towards the end of the season, we saw what he's capable of.
Yeah.
When he's fully fit and running. And obviously, in the Euros, you're going to see that as well. So I think there's been a lot of misdirection in the fan base as to pointing fingers and then attributing blame. And if you look back towards the core of the club, Levy, there's an awful lot of that going on already. Because if you turn around and try to blame Levy for something, then he will turn around and say, "Well, look, the club was absolutely crap when I got it. Haven't I made it better?" Right? Be grateful. Or you can turn around and say, "Well, these particular players, well, Hitchin chose them. That's his scouting network. That's his job and responsibility. Oh, well, they got to a final and they lost and didn't have enough ammunition." No, I got you a team that would get to a final and the coach and the players couldn't pull it through. He gets away with so much murder. It's unbelievable, right? Yeah. The only thing he cannot get away with is the tag, which I'm going to spit it out. I will say it on a Sunday, and that is Spursy. Mm-hmm. How can you have an associative attribute when the players have come and gone, the coaching staff have come and gone? The only common denominator is Levy, and if his fingers are involved in everything, then he's the one enabling this thing to occur. Where it's okay for the players to bottle it like they did against West Ham, like they did against Zagreb, like they did against Man City. It's like too many times when we needed them, when they had a game to play, where we needed the points, like Leeds, for example. We needed the points. They couldn't play. When you didn't need the points, you can score 4-0. You can win 4-0. And Gareth Bale can score a hat-trick. That's when you don't need the points. Okay? So capitulation on the side of the squad means that the psychology of the squad is that their confidence and their reassurance is based upon what? That someone's going to pat them on the back and say, "It's okay." A coach won't. A coach will say, "You played like shite. I'm not going to pick you again." And then Harry Winks will go and cry to Levy, and Levy will say, "Don't worry, I'm going to play you in the final. You're going to get your shot at the Euros." That's true. Guess what? Exactly what happened. There's no way there's any coach in this country that would have put Winks in that final. He didn't deserve to play. That's the point, deserve. This word, deserve, that means someone trained really well, their performances on the pitch deserve another performance on the pitch. Unless the manager is going to go for a complete tactical change. Yeah. So this idea, the center of our club, the board, does not understand that concept of someone deserving something because they're capable and they've won something.
Yeah.
So, for example, when they went to the European Super League, there was no that concept doesn't exist there either. You're not there because of anything you performed on the pitch. You're there because of you got brown envelopes bigger than other people's brown envelopes, and that's the same thing with Winks and Levy. There's a relationship there, and it's got nothing to do with how he plays on the pitch. That's a fact. True. Look, you're not blind. He's not blind. Is there anyone blind out there? The answer is no. So why are we fooling ourselves with this basic notion of doubt within our minds, whether or not Levy is like this or Levy's like that? I think we're just being polite to the fans out there which don't quite get it. Is that because we were like that once upon a time?
Yes.
And therefore, how would you like it? How would you like it if these nutters on the hill were jumping up and down and spitting blood, and we're looking at them thinking, "You're a bunch of nutters. Why are you jumping up and down and spitting blood?" Now we've become those nutters. who are jumping up
True.
and down and spitting blood.
Yeah.
Let's say it,
No, it's the same example, Mr. K.
in full parties.
No, it's the same example right now. If 10 years ago we've bumped into Brian Dago, right? So, and we will think that he's nuts, right? He's been shouting this for 13 years, correct? But now, after 13 years, and we can't take it anymore, right? We have jumped on his bandwagon and started to be shouting with him, correct? And what we are trying to do now is trying to shout as loud as possible for the rest of the fan base, right? To wake up and actually see what's happening. Number one, the virus or the sickness or the cancer is at the very top, and it's spread down all the way down to the players, okay? And it's gone all the way down to the fans.
So
right?
are we stage 4?
Oh, we're past stage 4, right?
I think
But
the thing is, as fans, we can't say that we're terminal. We know that,
oh, yes, true.
we know that the club is definitely weak and debilitated, but as fans, we can never say it's totally out, because then we're not fans.
True. That's true. Yeah, but okay, there's a notion out there now, Mr. K. There are fans out there who said that they don't even mind getting us relegated, okay, to get Levy out. What do you think about that?
I think in some people's minds they can see it in a clarity which maybe I cannot.
Mm-hmm.
And from their perspective, they don't have any other alternative moves left. They're thinking that if people that are interested only in the greed of money, then the only way you can get them to get their hands off something that you hold dear is for that thing not to be as worthy in their hands for what they want it to be. Yeah. So therefore, if the club, for example, was to get relegated, say, for example, next season, there'll be a big hoo-ha, and maybe the proposition of keeping hold of the club for Levy and Lewis may not be that appealing. And as business people, they might decide to sell up, cash in, because they've got enough money. They've got enough money now. You know, they can't say they're broke, that they don't have a penny or two, even though everyone else is going through hard times. But the thing is, they're living off our passion.
True.
Right? And whether they have a good performance or a bad performance, our passion is still there. True. There's no other consumable product on the planet that you would do that to unless you're addicted to it, and it comes in a powdery form. So, literally, what Levy has done is he's found the modern day version of Coca-Cola. Because originally Coca-Cola, when it was first brought out, it had cocaine in it. Can you believe it? They got their.
Be careful. We'll get demonetized before we've even been monetized.
Well, okay, no. Excuse me. These are facts. Just pull it up in Wikipedia and you'll understand.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So basically,
that's why it's called Coca-Cola.
If I get my people if I get my customer base addicted to my product, then even if the product is crap, they'll buy it day in, day out.
Yeah, most of the famous sodas were
what you're doing. No, but the thing is, even if the person knows that what you're doing to them, they're still going to keep coming back and saying, "Give me more." I mean, this sounds kind of really sick, but this is actually what companies did over 100 years ago in America.
Well,
when they came out with something called...
Isn't sugar more addictive than the drug you just mentioned?
No, because that was called an effervescent pick-me-up.
Yeah.
Right? Sugar's meant to give you some energy or something that will last you for the day or something, right?
And the American diet, it was the hydrogenated oil and the corn syrup that they persuaded many manufacturers to put in everything, whether it's needed or not, and it led to a fat country and an ever increasingly fat world.
Yeah, but the thing is, before they got fat, they had Coca-Cola. I don't know why. Why are you guys scared for anyway? These are facts which are in Wikipedia. I'm not going to turn around and put a tinfoil hat on my head. I'm quoting to you. If you look in the History Museum, this is what you see. This is not a debate anymore. This is not like, oh, we shouldn't talk about something because it's very sensitive and people out there may call us anti-Semites. That's just a load of crap. We're talking about a model of business that makes its recipient addicted to the product and therefore can treat them any which way they want and still turn around and say, well, I'm your sugar daddy.
Yeah,
True,
That's what
true.
Levy's been
Yeah.
saying.
don't
You know, if
worry,
you look
Mr.
at it,
K.
it's play.
The fear from me is purely newbieitis. I'm still treading new ground regards the ins and
Imagine
outs of YouTube
Imagine the
channels.
Joe Rogan approach, right? He's on YouTube and he talks about all kinds of things, and they're very careful how
Yeah.
they speak about it, but they do still speak about it clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to understand that
Mm.
in this life, right? Yeah, if you want to take on people like Levy, this is the type of guts you need to have. And if you don't have this about something that's blatantly old as 100 years that everyone knows about, and you can't talk about that thing, how are you going to talk about something which is a lot more like nowadays when it comes to Spurs and when it comes to Levy and when it comes to this club called Tottenham Hotspur Football Club? You know, if you, this is the problem that we've got with the large general fan base, is that we're very polite people. We're very law-abiding. You know, we want to take families to football clubs. We want to have, you know, get-togethers and sing-alongs. You know, we're not the type of fan base to go out there and riot and rip things up and have.
We haven't got the data yet to prove that our team is killing people.
But no, it's not killing people. It's killing the passion that is the reason why we become fans. Win or lose or draw, we're there for the team. It's based on passion. It's not based on results. So, for example, if you went out there and you took a medicine that gave you the result of making you, better, you'd carry on taking it. But if you took a piece of medicine that didn't do that, you'd stop using it. So, therefore, it's something else in your nature, which is addictive based, which is taken over. And that's the reason why I referred it in reference to, the aforementioned soft drink that comes red but not blue. And product placement pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so,
true.
but here's the crazy thing: is that like you have just mentioned, Jamie. When you go on the Twitter world, people do say this to you. People on Facebook as well. They do say, don't say that. Don't talk like that. The club might go under. We might lose our club altogether. I voiced that last night, and people told me clearly and categorically, you cannot have a club that's expensive as this. It will not. The government won't let it go down for a start. The banks won't let it go down. So we're no longer. We shouldn't have that sort of worry anymore. We should be very blatant about who we're pointing our fingers at and what we expect from our club. And here's the crazy thing: people turn around and say, "Well, you shouldn't have any expectations. You should just have a small expectation that you can turn up at least. That should be enough for you. While they're making billions, it should be just enough for you that we exist." I'm sorry, but existence is not enough.
That means that somehow or another, that all these years, Levy being in control, we have been programmed to accept this type of standards, which is no standard, right? And we've been programmed to accept, right, to be loyal and just take your medicine, right? And sadly enough, during this COVID period, right, I guess a lot of people had too much free times on their hand and started to sit down and evaluate the values of our club. And a bunch of us stood up and said, okay, we've had enough of this. No ambition, right? Mediocre kind of level of playing and results. While we are still like encouraging them to be that way. But a few of us, and I hope it's still growing, that those who are actually waking up or have already woken up, right, will grow bigger and stronger. So at least we can have a certain amount of numbers to have what we call push for a change on what's going to happen in the future. What do you think, Jamie?
Whether I'm as radical as is needed for that to happen, something's going to happen. I mean, during the week on our WhatsApp chat, I did say sort of tongue in cheek that we've got to take Spurs take the club by force, but it's about the only, as you were saying previously, about the only way that we're going to get Levy out in any reasonable timescale is if a mutual financer will come in, or a mutual financial plan can be made to buy him out. And you also indicated
I think
that.
that's a bit. I think that's. Yeah.
No,
Look,
I mean,
I
no,
get your point about
also,
having
yeah.
someone to buy the club out. But what I'm saying is that before that
not
type
some
of talk,
oligarch,
before that
someone
talk can
who actually
exist,
wants to.
we've got to have. Sorry, Jamie.
Go ahead,
What I was
Mr.
saying, before you can get to the point, before you get to the point where you can actually have someone and saying, "Look, we need someone to take over the place." The first things first. Luckman turned around and after the first protest and said, "We're a minority." The very first thing we need a consensus from the fan base to say, "Yes, there's a problem."
Yeah, if I was going to continue, that was actually the rest of what Eugene had said to me before the broadcast. So it's a case of getting some cohesion of the fan base, then moving forward in a way that's actually going to leave it out, whether it be financial buyout or whether it be a united fan base just not tolerating him anymore.
Just let me read out Wayne's statement here. Yeah, Wayne Bonner says that, and there's the magic word, loyal, right? We are loyal to our club, which isn't loyal to us. Loyalty has its limits before it's broken. Yeah, well said, Wayne. Well said. But like what? Yeah, but we understand. Maybe that's what Levy saw in Tottenham Hotspur 20 years ago, right? That this fan base that Tottenham Hotspur has is very loyal. And what he has done is that he has used it as a tool, right, for his own gains, correct? Instead of bringing glory to the club all these years, right, he has brought glory to the pockets of the owners of the club, right? And a lot of people out there maybe sees it, but they approve of it and they understand it, right? But what he has been doing now, which I don't understand, is that with all this chaos going around, we are spiraling into a black hole with no ending. How far can we drop? Okay, but why is he doing it? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Does he have a certain ulterior motive out there, or he's just bloody lost it? He doesn't know what he's doing anymore. And if he doesn't know what he's doing anymore, right, the board should step in and remove him from his position. But somehow or another, the board are all his cronies, right? The people who are around him, I'm sure they're paid millions of pounds a year just to be a director of Tottenham Hotspur, right? Not say millions, okay? Very high salary, right? Just to sit there and to be just the yes man, right? Every deal that goes through, right, in a company cannot be signed off by one person. It has to have a consensus. It has to have a resolution from the board. What do you think, Mr. K?
Well, I'm sorry if I was making noise. I didn't realize my microphone was still open there.
Oh no, it's okay.
I don't know. For me, it's become a lot more clearer, and trying to rationally prove it to other people seems to be the only thing that we're really trying to do. For our individual selves, we already know what the motivation for Levy and the board is. Don't forget the board, they're not interested in football either. You said 20 years. Well, who put the board together? You know, it's like I said, Levy's had 20 years to surround himself with an infrastructure and a setup that he can fully manipulate and control.
Yeah, that's and don't fact. Even go into the trust.
Right. So when it comes down to what's the ambition, well, the ambition is to make the club successful in what way? Financially, to make it self-sufficient. You know, so that requires the club to be financially stronger in the future. So making all the investments that Levy's been making with property deals and everything ensures that to happen. It means the club can't go down because it fails at football. It'll carry on and persist as an entity in terms of making money. So we might not win any trophies, we might not get top four, but we'll always keep turning a profit in the property deals that we've got. And if that's the ambition of the club, because that's what's clearly been shown to be the ambition of the club, then, the fans are backing a property tycoon who's making himself richer at your expense. That seems like a delusional way of dealing yourself, as a fan.
So it should be THPLC, not THFC.
True.
Pretty much.
So if in the end of the day, everything just comes down to money for them to be put into their pockets, right? And what will happen to the fan base? Will the fan base still support something like this? Or will the fan base wake up and say that, hey, what's going on, right? Every piece of property you buy, right, is from our money. From our money, from ticket sales, from our money, from merchandise purchases and all that, correct? And of course, let's say our money from all the broadcasting that comes with the TV broadcasting, international broadcasting, and all that, correct? So in the end of the day, if the fans all go back into the stadium, let's say by the season start, do you think, right, there will be a show of dissent in the stadium? Mr. K, especially you are home ground. At home ground. Mr. K?
I'm not sure. Remember, it's early for him.
No, it's lunchtime. He's back here.
I'm still here. I'll be right
back. Did you get my question, Mr. K?
I got the question. I heard everything. My internet was like cutting me in and out.
Okay. Right.
So basically, to answer your question, this is what I was saying to you earlier. We're trying to formulate steps in a plan. Steps number 3, 4, and 5. When steps number 1 and 2 are the most important steps, and that is getting the fans to all understand what the real situation is. Okay. Now, obviously, fans are blinded by a certain degree of sentimentality to say that our club was in such a bad state and that Levy and co are the saviors. Unfortunately, if you dig a little bit more into the history, you find that's not the case. Sugar was the savior. Levy just made it bigger.
Yeah.
So that means that this particular myth, this lie, which has been perpetuated for 20 years, only benefits one person, and that's Levy and co. It doesn't reflect the truth, because the truth is, Sugar saved the club, not Levy. But the thing is, in 20 years, all that's been propagated is that Levy is the one that's saving the club.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So people can turn around and say, oh, yes, that's true. I never said that. I meant, no, you're mixing words. You're mixing words. You're trying to attribute the good things to this one person who's only there for themselves. I know, look, right now, between the three of us and the people that are viewing, this seems like a bit of an echo, where everything that I say is everything that everyone else understands and everyone else agrees with, and there's no opposite view. And that is, well, have a look on YouTube. Find me a YouTube channel that has got people that are saying wonderful things about Levy. If there is, I like to go there and talk to them and ask them questions. Convince me to like Levy. Convince me.
Recently, I think a lot of them have shift their opinions to more on the outside. But before that, apart from all this managerial chaos and problems that we've been trying to get managers and all that, there were a few channels who were actually quite on his side. But now they're more or less shifting back to the outside. But how you say it? A lot of flip-flop. Okay, just for hypothetical scenario, Mr. K and Jamie. What if tomorrow, right, Levy appoints Conte or Poch? Would you all say it's okay?
I'd be blooming surprised, but it depends. Because again, is that just going to be another smokescreen that it's okay,
no,
right?
Let's say hypothetically he does appoint either one, Conte or Poch. We'll all be forgiven and everything be swept under the rug and we just go back to normal, right? Or will there still be a movement, right, to try to get him out?
I think it would slow things, dependent on how successful Poch or Conte was, but he wouldn't stop it. I mean, I think that there's a good chance that Levy and co are just trying to maintain their own interests until it's time to move on, which is a time that they can pick and choose, and we just have to wait on.
So, what do you think, Mr. K?
I think he's still eating.
I know, maybe he's on his way to his studio. But okay, for me, it's right. The gauntlet has.
If you guys can hear me properly, then I'll just continue with it.
You've gone underwater, mate.
You're breaking up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah.
No? Hello?
Go ahead. Hello? No, now you're not there. Okay, just until Mr. K comes back. For me, right, the gauntlet has dropped, right? No matter what he does now, right, it doesn't make any more difference. For me now is that even if he appoints Pep, right, the movement still must go on. Because what if you have decided that now he does this, right, and tomorrow he does another thing, in the end of the day, we come back to square one. For us as fans now, if we have woken up and we understand what's happening, we don't want to go back to square one. We want to be progressive, right, instead of being regressive. Okay, we can't be like taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Then after that, take 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But in the end of the day, we still end up at the back. So
yeah, sorry about that, guys. My internet's been going blinkety blink.
No problem.
You're right about going backwards and forwards, and it feels like after 4, 5, 6 years we've gone back to where we were, and it doesn't feel exactly that way. But in terms of bringing Poch back or bringing Conte in, would it pacify the fans? Well, that just tells you the condition the fans are in, if such things will actually do that. Because when we had Poch, we all saw how he got treated. He did wonderful things, took us to Champions League, qualification year in, year out. And it wasn't a case of like we were worried about that we get Champions League. We were fighting for it, We had that type of aggression, and that type of aggressive type of mental attitude was being reflected in the way we played. Even if we went a goal or 2 down, we didn't care, we came back. And that was, so from that point of view, when he was there doing those wonderful things, we still had fan base turning around and looking at his subs and saying, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. Looking at some of his tactics against certain types of teams and saying, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. And then when the results are going bad, oh, let's get rid of him. So for those type of people that said those things, Levy could invent the cure for cancer, or he could do this or that, and people wouldn't change their view of him. He could do nasty things, but people will still turn around and say we don't really care, because these type of fans, they're not interested in those type of things. They're only interested in, for their own opinion, what they want to be right about. You, me, Jamie, and the fans which are listening right now, and the fans which are protesting, we're not in it for ourselves, we're in it for other people. And that's what the protest is all about. The 20 years of shame and hurt. Because that's where does the shame come from? The shame comes from the tag Spursy. Why do we even have such a tag? Why is it look at Kane right now in the Euros. Okay? Yeah. There are other people out there, other strikers and other teams that are performing just equally the same as him. But the way our media vilifies Kane is because it's open season to do that against anyone who plays for Tottenham. Whether it's the club, the fans, the board, or the players. If Kane had been playing for Manchester United or Chelsea, in the first season alone, they would have called him world class. But they took 3-4 years before they started to even say that he's good. And now, straight away, they're willing to pull the rug. I mean, this is what they've done to the captain of England, because he's a Spurs player. So the media and the opposition fans, they just laugh at us, and they use us as the butt end of a joke. And we have got no pride in doing anything back. So for example, last season I'm seeing Dombele get kicked up, shinned up after the ball's gone, before the ball's gone, and not one of our players is going in there to put a foot in.
Yeah.
So the players, that type of attitude from the top, the players on the pitch, they are going to perform that way too, where they're not going to back each other up in a physical way. Why? Because the fans are not backing up the players. The moment the moment the players start to, miss a ball or be too slow or, happen to be ball watching, it's straight away we want him out. We want him excommunicated from the club. Even though the boy may have been there for 10 years in the club and putting everything in. Oh, no, he's a waste of space now. He's dead wood.
He might need
What
excommunication.
loyalty do we have? What loyalty do we have? We have to ask ourselves the same question. Are we really loyal to our club? Are we really loyal to the people in our club? Or have we been listening to the media just as much as everyone else? And we're just, whether they might not believe the Levy thing, but we don't believe the player thing. So the way I look at it, this particular type of Spursy attitude is across left and right. We need to fix that. And the way to fix that is through education. And to get people to understand that this type of stuff is real. So even if Levy brings in Poch or brings in Conte, it does not negate the fact that his whole agenda always has been and always will be for his own pocket and has nothing to do with us as a club.
Okay. Very true. What do you think, Jamie? What would you think? And how do you feel about this?
Frustrated because we can see what he's doing, or we can see what it appears he's doing, allegedly, and we can see the general apathy of the majority of the fan base with what is a more woke fringe, which we are part of. And you can say it's the pandemic. People have got bigger things to deal with in the football club and such, and maybe we're just being sad folk that are pining for our beloved club. But and unless it's right on the doorstep of every single fan, and they feel it and they see it, they'll tolerate much more than they should. So it's getting the ball rolling in the direction that's going to pick up the hopefully ever increasing, as Mr. K says, educated fan base. So everyone is aware and starts not being sheep, but start being a pack, a team, a fan base that is educated and directed.
United?
United, rather than apathetic, because it's too much hassle.
Yeah. But in the end, like I said, I've been saying before, right? Categories of fans that varies, right? There are fans like us. There are casual fans out there, right? There are fans who are just sitting there and just, okay, I'm just watching the football. I don't care the rest about the other thing. I don't care whether you win or lose, but I just like to wear the jersey and I just like to watch, right? And whatever the result is, I'm not there. And especially for what I'm saying is to a lot of the fans who are not in the stadium or in the UK, is for a lot of fans who are out of the stadium and out of UK, the international fans. A lot of international fans, right, are fans who are, how you call, not to say they're not passionate for the club and all that, but they might feel that they don't have a say to what direction that this club can go. So that's why I started this channel, right, is to try to bring all the international fans, right, into one direction to show that we do have a say on the other side of the pond. Instead of course, the home-based fans have to show an example for us international fans to follow. What do you think about that, Mr. K?
He's muted.
Sorry, I was muted there.
Yeah.
Look, the thing is, first things first, we have to feel the same way, whether you're in the United Kingdom, in Europe, or anywhere else in the world. Yeah, in your heart, you have to feel the same way. Once you feel that way, then you say, well, what can I do from the situation where I am? Whether I'm in the UK or whether I'm abroad, what can I do? Now, it's nice to know that the fans can reach across from different continents to say it with solidarity. Say, listen, you stop buying the merchandise and I'll start protesting outside their door. But these are tentative baby steps for Spurs fans who are not known for doing such things. So it's going to take a little while for that movement to start meaning something. And there are going to be some people that are going to be impatient. They want to see the results today. They want to see the protesters in their thousands today. But unfortunately, you know, the way it is right now in the world with COVID, and at the same time it is with our fan base, it's going to take a little bit longer to get people used to that type of thinking. You know, it took a while before Arsenal fans could get Wenger out or get themselves to say that they wanted Wenger out. And I think that's what we need to do. We need to get the fan base to understand why they need Levy out. You know, why do they need Levy not to do the things that he's currently doing? Because you've got a man who's not a footballing man trying to run footballing affairs. It's that illogical. Okay? And that's the bottom of it all, is that he does not allow other people whose job it is to do the job to carry on doing it without him interfering it. You know, we can blatantly see this over the last, 7 years. So, listen, I want to carry on with this. Let me just quickly pop off stream just for a second. I need to quickly do something.
Yep.
All right, be back in a second.
Okay. Right. Is Yid Kid in the back studio, or is he?
Yid Kid says he's at a game at the moment. So if we are still on, then he'll hop on after that. Mr. K is, I think Mr. K is setting up his show for the next show that's going to go on, which is most probably I'll be hopping on to the next show, which is the Three Wise Men with Boy Hotspur, right? Maybe we'll all meet up on the other show. So in the end of the day, I understand what Mr. K is saying, right? We have to reach out to every fan of Tottenham Hotspur out there, right? And try to see what they feel deep down inside about our club, right? And maybe on the way, we might find a few down the road that have the same sentiment that we have, that maybe will like to see the changes need to be made. But like I've been saying a long time, there are too many casual fans out there. And how do we get them to feel the way we feel? Is maybe that we have to be talking more about things like this. Okay, right? And spreading the word and try to educate, right? And open the eyes and make them wake up to the reality of what's happening at our club, right? But there are certain fans that I understand, no matter what you do to them, is I understand football is still football, right? There are more important things in their life to take seriously more than apart from football, right? And to them, what sometimes I would just say they're more or less casual fans, right? But spending money, like, you understand what I'm saying, Jamie, right? For us to buy an original jersey, all right, or a kit from the UK at the UK prices, by the time it reaches to our shores on this side of the pond, right?
And you add the duty.
After the duty, after exchange rates and all that, right? We are paying like a piece of cloth 8 times more than the basic currency that is in the UK, the pound.
At least double. Yeah. I mean, if you order it from the Spurs store, if you buy over a certain amount of merchandise, they post it for free, but you still have to spend £100, which is
600.
I don't know how many ringgits it is, but it's about 6,500 peso.
Yeah, it's about 600 ringgit here. 700 ringgit, yeah. So, and to tell the truth, right, £100, right, is just one piece of cloth now. Don't forget, our elite jersey is about 100 over quid, right? 120 quid.
and they, at the moment, people want to just make sure they've got food on the table and they're not getting made into a statistic of the pandemic.
Yeah. That's what Wayne Bond is asking. How much do you actually pay all in just for a shirt?
Okay, it varies because there's a grey market in the Philippines. There's what they call overruns and
No, just
Class
say
A.
original. Let's say originally from the Spurs store, and you
Okay,
bring it over.
I can only give a ballpark figure. The If it was ordered from a retailer and it doesn't, or even the Spurs store, I'd imagine, and it doesn't come up to like 100 smackers, then the duty is going to be possibly, and the postage is possibly going to be doubling it. So you're looking at an 85 quid or 100 quid shirt that's going to cost 200 quid effectively by the time it gets to Manila.
Our shores.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
And I mean, my father sent me a Mercedes-Benz Lewis Hamilton shirt that cost him 50 quid, and I had to pay 1,000 pesos, which was another 15 quid, just to have the post office release it to me.
Oh, okay.
So
that's why I said ridiculous amount of money for us on the other side of pond because of the exchange rate, right? And of course,
it's expensive by anyone's measure. Even if you're living right by the stadium, it's still, you're paying 85, 100 quid for a shirt, which cost a fraction of that price to produce, but the markup is such. And we as like sheep, we stomp up because we've got to be loyal to our club.
that's true.
We've got the highest, allegedly the highest paid chairman, the most expensive season tickets. We're not getting our money's worth, irrespective of whether we're international fans or N17 residents. So,
But I pity the answer. I mean, I do pity sometimes how you call the fans that actually go to the stadium, paying the highest ticket prices in the whole of Europe, and then you get your burgers and your beers and all that. I mean, for one stadium day, if you for one per person at a stadium for just a stadium outing per day, right? You will have to spend something like 150 to 200 quid.
Well,
the ticket price.
It depends on how much. Luckily, my
how much you drink.
I don't drink that much.
No, I mean, for a normal fan, for those who drink and eat and spend what they need to spend on the
it's always going to be three figures and going up. So,
Jamie, hold on. Mr. K face reveal on our channel. He has never done it in anywhere else. Thank you, Mr. K.
You're welcome. Listen, you guys are most welcome.
Hopefully, when our viewership goes up, your face won't disappear.
You'll always be with me. Don't worry.
No, guys,
just like you, Jamie. Yeah.
I think what it is that the subject matter is serious. You guys are sincere and quite determined to take these steps, regardless of them being not very not big steps. They're very little steps. But sometimes in life, when people are doing little steps, it's worthwhile supporting them. And that's what I'm doing with you guys here. I want to support your channel. I want the viewers out there to support this channel too. Yeah. Look, we're very few right now. We've got to support each other.
Well, hopefully we can get added to the THFC Rants linked channels.
Yeah. Hold on, I've got one more guest coming in. Right, Mr. K, hold on.
Is that the kid?
Yeah. Hold on.
The future.
Okay, before that, let me just read out Wayne Bonner's a message here. That's too much. I refuse to pay 70 quid for a shirt here in the UK. The last shirt I bought full price was the blue one with the collar. Right?
I don't know whether it was this one.
That one. Yeah, the one that Yit Kid's wearing. Yeah, thanks, Wayne. Yeah, no other way. Yeah, the blue one with the collar. This one. Yeah.
In the US, the shirts are like $120.
Yeah, but you factor that in. That's still only a small markup compared to the amount of duty that they add on for postage and letting it into the country in Asia. You're getting a good deal in comparison to Asia. Yeah. Asia's getting absolutely done over.
But Daniel, if you buy it from the Nike store, right? So not from the Spurs official store in America, then maybe the price is a bit cheaper.
No, Nike's like way more expensive. The thing is that here in America we have these stores called they're called like Macy's and Ross where they have these stuff from, let's say, last season. You go to Ross and you find jerseys from last season way lower price, like let's say a $12 jersey from last season. That's where I usually
Oh, okay.
pretty good deal.
Oh, that's a good deal.
Or
Go on,
Dick's
innit?
Sporting Goods.
Yeah.
Big Sporting, yeah. So how was your game, Daniel?
We can still hear it.
I'm not at a game myself. It's actually my dad is playing right now. He's
Your
in
dad?
Yeah,
What position does he play?
he's a goalkeeper.
My
Okay.
my dad was a goalkeeper. He played until he was 55, creeping out the house with rickety joints, and my mum would do her nut because he was too old to play. But no, I spent my everything from elementary school till adulthood. Saturday was traveling around in everyone's cars, going to the fixtures and sitting in the clubhouse or on the sideline watching my dad and his mates play. So
Yeah.
Right. So that means the game is not over yet, right, Daniel?
No, it's just in halftime.
Oh, just in halftime. All right.
he's doing
So
in
how-
Florida what I did 40 years ago in England.
But you didn't have YouTube then.
No, I had a glass of Coke and a packet of Walker's crisps and
Yeah.
my voice. And if it started raining, I could run back to the clubhouse.
Yeah. And you didn't have an iPhone that could get you
No.
online.
We had call boxes, and you had to have some spare change on you to make a call.
Yeah.
No caller ID.
Times have changed really.
Yeah.
Times have really changed. Yeah. So how have you been doing it, kid?
I mean, in terms of Tottenham, not great. Obviously, the Fonseca stuff. But in terms of my actual life, I'm good.
Well, you've
Yeah,
just
good.
had a
That's good.
birthday. Of course, you've had a good week.
Yeah. How was your birthday? How was your birthday celebration?
It was
Yeah.
great. But when I
Yeah.
woke up like 2 days later and I found out Fonseca was not going to sign.
Okay, look, you became a teenager. How did you wake
Yeah.
up 2 days later? Was did someone sneak into the party and mess with the fruit punch?
Okay, just let me read a comment from Wayne Bonner. Thank you, Wayne. Wayne says that goalkeeper was his favorite position, was my favorite position. Still is, but got stuck playing centre back. Okay, Wayne. To tell the truth, I played in the goalkeeper position and for some time, and sometimes played in midfield too. Right?
I
Somehow
was
not
a defender or a substitute.
the defender substitute. Yeah.
Guys, it's a happy Father's Day.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day to all of
yeah.
you.
Happy Father's Day.
Getting
to
ready
all
for your
fathers.
broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
getting my my studio set up.
Mhm.
As you can see, I gotta get some extras to walk around the back. So it's an animated background. Look, this is not really real. If I touch this, you'll see a blue screen moving. It's just behind my finger, right?
You
So,
can
but
get
you see, I can't wear blue.
you can do Home Alone. You can get a cardboard cutout of Yid Kid and Will, and attach them to fishing wire and have them fly across the back of the set.
I thought about that. The animatronics cost more than actually getting real people to walk by. They're cheaper, less hassle, less
Yeah,
things
that's
go
easy.
wrong.
Yeah, Yid Kid. If you follow this route, you might start being called Macaulay.
So, Mr. K, Mr. K, do you need time to go and set up your things for the other show?
Pretty much, I'm going to start wrapping it up from this side, but I can
Yeah.
do both. I can do both things at the same time. I
Nah.
mean, right now,
Mm,
I'm
know.
here. If you guys need me for a few minutes, I'm here. I'm just gonna. Actually, I do
No.
need to jump out. I think too.
yeah.
Start. getting
No,
things
you
a
better
bit more
jump
wrapped
out
up.
because after that we'll be ending this stream soon, and then we'll be hopping
Yeah.
onto your stream. All right.
Yeah.
I might
Okay.
be able to
Right.
hop on there. If my
Yeah.
dad-
Well, guys,
All right.
all the viewers
Just-
out there,
Just
can I
just say yeah.
go on?
just go ahead.
basically, I was gonna- go on.
Mr. K, go ahead. Just say you just say what your outro.
Well, brilliant. Viewers out there, people that are viewing this now and people that are going to view this in the future, please do like and subscribe this channel. It's really important that this particular channel, where it's situated and what it represents to the future fan base that's growing in Asia. We need people like Eugene, we need people like Jamie to be creating
Kid.
content for Spurs fans which are in Asia. You know, I think us fans over here in the UK, we can come along to maybe do some cameo appearances, but ultimately your channel will reflect, the flavor of the Asian fans, because they're not 5 minutes down the road from the lane. Okay, so they're very different mentality of how they support and how they love the club, like you guys do. All right, so viewers, please like and subscribe, pass it on and share if you can. Leave a comment. If you're seeing this in the future, leave a comment. If you're watching right now, leave a comment. If there's something you disagree with what we're saying, please either come on as a panelist and educate us, because we genuinely want to know. Because I'd rather change my brain than carry on thinking the way I'm thinking, because it's terrible what's really going on. But anyway, come on, you Spurs, and if you can, at 2:30, come on to Will Stewart's THFC's Rants channel, and come and watch the boy Hotspur, who's going to be my guest today on the Three Wise Men.
What time is it there now?
It's in 20 minutes. It's 2:10 right now.
Yeah,
so the program is 20 minutes. I'm going to shoot off and get myself ready.
Yeah, I'll see you on the other side.
We can wrap up and then see you later. See you
definitely.
We're wrapping up now.
At the beginning, I have just a few select panelists, because I'm trying to ask questions of the guests. And then after a little while, I'll then open up the panels for other content creators and other fans out there which have normally come on. And Gracia, Preti, that's there you go. Okay, guys, all the best. Come on, you Spurs.
Okay. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you, Mr. K.
Yes, so everyone who's watching or will watch, Grace Pretty, she's my wife, and she has to deal with a lot. I am not the easiest man to live with, and I love her. I just want to show consistent passion for her and everything else that's important in life, even if it's this Tottenham or my wife. My wife is more important than any football club. No offense.
Of course.
Tottenham's pretty close. Yeah. And also Erica's my sister-in-law.
Yeah,
yes,
thank you. Thank you. Familia.
Capamilia. Philippines represent. Come on.
Yes. All right. And from Wayne Bonner, another great stream, fellas. Makes my Sunday lunchtime. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you for the support. I'll catch up with you later on the WhatsApp group. I've got some ideas to throw out to see whether you're interested. All right, Wayne. And
Daniel, remember that the Three Wise Men, it's in about 20 minutes.
No, okay, it's in about 15 minutes.
15 minutes on the Will Rants.
Yeah.
So
Daniel, you want to do your plug-in?
Yeah, you guys can find me at the Yid Kid on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Instagram. But most importantly, everybody subscribe to Spurs Asian. Fantastic content, expressing the fan base of Asia. So thanks so much for having me on again. And I'll see you guys.
Samzo. Oh, Brian's just arrived.
Good morning, Brian.
Too late.
All right. Okay, Brian. You want to hop on, Brian?
We've only got about 15 minutes left, Brian. Before we.
He'll be hopping onto the other channel. We'll meet up with Brian on the Three Wise Men channel. Thank you for hopping on, Brian. Thank you for your comment. And of course, Amzo. Amzo is another one who's a great supporter. Thank you, Amzo. Thank you so much. Right. And I will try my very best to build this Persuasion TV channel in Asia. Right. And Brian says he's having his breakfast.
You'll do your very best. We'll do our very best, and then the numbers will increase.
Yes, we'll do our best, and hopefully the numbers will increase. And Brian, I'll see you on Three Wise Men later, Brian. Okay, we're signing up now. As how we'll go and see, we'll be on the Three Wise Men. All right, and the last words will be, "Come on, you Spurs." Jamie.
Yes, Tottenham.